Good morning, Dr. Dementia, State 469, Cat Alliance. Hey, I'm going to make this intro as short as possible because the videos are a little long. However, I'd like to say the following. I think it's important that it's said, and I think that it's a very realistic way of looking at it. This particular state versus state was between ALL at 473 and, between 473 and 469. You know, there's a lot of reasons that people come up with a lot of excuses people can use to define what happens. This is why we won. This is why we lost. This is what it is. Well, you know, the bottom line is most everybody knows we lost. So why did we lose? Well, there's a lot of reasons we could have lost. Okay? Or there are a lot of reasons you could have used. Could have said, oh, we had a lot of people on vacation. Could have said it was a holiday. Could have said some of our bigger players had internet issues. Could have said, and the list goes on and on and on. Yeah, could have said all of that. We lost because 473 was better. They were just as strong, perhaps maybe a little stronger, but not enough to really make as big a difference. However, they were better. They were better organized. They had better planning. They had a better strategy. And they were better all around. And there are going to be people at CAT that disagree with what I say, and there are going to be people in 469 that disagree with what I say. And they can come up with any excuse that they want. But I'm going to tell you right now, they won because they were better. Not that they were better people, but they were better prepared. They were better organized. They did their research. They understood how to do it. And I'm going to tell you, it was an eye-opening experience because they didn't just barely beat us, okay? They kicked our ass, all right? And there's a big difference between being competitive and not. And we were not competitive. And we can come up with as many excuses as we want. But the only excuse that's actually viable is they were better. And I apologize to my teammates, to my alliance, and to the state that I say that, because it's not a negative issue, but it is honest. They were better. But we'll learn from it. So with that being said, I'm going to start this off, and I'm going to narrate some of it at the beginning because I think it's important that you understand some of it. And there's not going to be a lot of state discord dialogue in it, only because it really isn't necessary, number one. And number two, it doesn't apply. There was a lot of conversation about mistakes and strategies and changing that it's really should not be a part of this video. With that being said, please, look, subscribe, like, and notify. Your subscribing to my channel motivates me to continue to produce these videos. And each time, just so you know, in a 5-hour video, I've got 3 hours of editing. So please, make it worth my while. I'd like at one point in time to become monetized in enough to be able to afford to buy a beer once in a while. Hey, thanks. I really appreciate it. Now watch us get our ass kicked. Oh, so this is how it starts. And when it does start, it's not going to be what it. So, many of you know that how we get started. We go in, we burn as much as we can to get them out of the way so that they're not helping, assisting, or doing anything. And that's what we did this time. We pre-marked everything. This is us going into 473. Now, what was interesting and where everybody needs to pay attention is to look at how organized and effective their strategy was. They have bubbled up a lot of people, but that's not what was key. What they also did was reinforced a lot of people. They didn't port, they didn't leave, they reinforced. Now, you could say they set these up as traps, lower value settlements that higher value people like me would hit, and hopefully I would lose. And I think one of the obvious strategies here was, hey, you know what? The more we can have somebody in the hospital, the harder it is for them to be effective and the more they lose. So if they get hit hard in the beginning, if they lose a lot of troops in the beginning, they're going to be a lot of people in the hospital, which is going to limit their ability. It's going to slow them down because they're healing. Well, you know what? That's actually a great strategy. You have to keep in mind that we have 1 hour, actually less than an hour. We have 1 hour to port over and start burning and to pretty much knock out as much as possible. So we pre-mark everything, we port over, and this should have been the first eye-opening situational awareness item that should have taken place. They were prepared. You can see shocking defeat by shocking defeat. I can generally, if I don't beat a P5, I can generally at least beat them up a little bit. And some of these I couldn't beat up at all. Now, there was another problem here as well. And this is something that you have to evaluate yourself. My SVS points, Dr. Dementia's SVS points in the end, and their impact on the rewards that I get are significant. The reason behind this is because as I continue to grow into P6 and into P7 and into P8 eventually, and whatever comes after that, what happens is the targets that I can take advantage of dwindle. At this point within the evolution of the game, I don't have as many targets as when I was a P5. There are far more P3s and 4s and 5s than there are P6, 7s, and 8s. The problem with that is that the game doesn't give you any points, nor does it allow you to gather resources on any settlement more than 3 levels lower than you. So as a P6, I'm only able to hit 4s, 5s, 3s, 4s, 5s, and 6s. The 3s don't give me what I need. And you can see already from what just happened how effective this is. It's already, only a couple minutes in, and I'm already 73,000 in the hospital. I think that it's important to understand that in general, we're stronger than ALL or 473. Their strategy just far better. In fact, I went back, I watched the entire video, and let me also say a couple of other things because, just filling time. First off, I do apologize for being a couple days late. We had some real life issues here that had to be taken care of. Secondly, yesterday was my birthday, and my wife put her foot down and said, "Hey, you know what? We've got family stuff to take care of, and we're going to do that." And when I say family, it's just my wife and I, but obligations that she made with many of our friends. So that's the first thing. The second thing that I would get out and certainly say is that I fight to fight, and I fight for the alliance, not for myself. I'm totally maxed, and the rewards that I get are minimal in the way of usefulness, only because I acquire bundles. And in those bundles, I get all kinds of other stuff that far outweigh one set of rewards for a simple event like SVS. What is distracting is the total number of losses in SVS. So we'll cover that a little bit later, but I wanted to go into it. And the only way that you can figure some of these out is you just got to attack. You have to attack in order to find the ones that you need to hit. I didn't find that many. E-words found more than I did. Locke found more than I did. Ref found more than I did. And that might have had something to do with the fact that I was actually distracted for about half of SVS with some other issues. It's just a bad timing. Now, that's not an excuse. Don't get me wrong. That is not an excuse. Because I was distracted has nothing to do with our loss. Our loss was because they were better. I can't stress that enough. I can't say it often enough. And I hope I'm saying it in a manner that our own state recognizes that we need to make some changes. If you run across these types of issues, you've got to figure out how to adapt. And we didn't. We didn't figure it out until it was too late. What we figured out was, hey, we're stronger than they are actually. And I'll again go back and say, as I edited this event, I went back and looked at every single attack or every single rally where I was the rally leader going to mid. I never lost. I lost 2 rallies the entire event. And of those 2 or 3, I can't remember exactly. But anyways, each one of those that I lost was based only on the fact that I did not have a full rally. There were 3 of them. 2 of them I didn't have a full rally. One of them I had nothing but P2s and 3s and 4s. That's what it was. So it wasn't a matter of we couldn't beat them individually. And it wasn't a matter of they were just stronger than us. Ref has the same stats I have. So he should have been in the same situation. I did not watch Ref the entire time, and I haven't really had a chance to talk with Breyer, so I don't know for sure. And then Hossack is the same way as well. All right, so they weren't stronger than us. They were just way better organized. And I don't know, maybe they have a whole lot of experience, a whole lot more experience in other states before they went to 473. Maybe they're just smart as crap. You can make all the excuses that you want. Bottom line, they were better. So here we are. I'm still over in 473, still looking at targets, still trying to figure some stuff out. Trying to take a look at what's going on. eWords is out there doing a couple of different things as well. We don't have a problem losing troops. It's not uncommon whatsoever for us to lose troops. We're not shy about losing troops. And quite frankly, why should we be? I mean, especially me. I mean, I'm sitting here with 18 million troops or more. So losing troops is just part of the game. By the time you get done with revival, then by the time you get done with enlistment, and yeah, enlistment, that's the funniest part. Here it is. I'm finishing the audio on this and will be rendering it and posting this video in, I don't know, 3-4 hours. It should be rendered and ready to post in about 3 or 4 hours. My Friday morning. So quite literally 6 days it's been since this took place. 6 days since the battle. I am still with troops being enlisted. As of, and I can look on my iPad right now while this is going, as of right now, I still have 19,395 troops left in enlistment. And I can probably whittle a few off here. Not much at all, because I just did it just a while ago. Now, what I did do is I went ahead and enlisted all of my infantry and hunters first, because I don't know why. You know what? The real thought process here is I did it because I've got RR coming up this weekend, Reservoir Raid coming up this weekend. But I've got so many, it wouldn't matter. Or so I think. I got to be, again, being honest, I've been in Reservoir Raid where I have lost every troop. Now, it's been a while. I think I only had maybe 7 or 8 million that time, and lost them all. I mean, literally, I had less than 150,000 garbage troops left by the time that was over. And you don't mind that in Reservoir Raid or Reservoir League because you get it all back. So, again, we look around, we're chatting, we're talking, we're trying to figure out what we're doing, and I've run out of decent targets. I've tested the waters for most of the alliance to figure out who they can and can't hit, where they can and can't go, all of those types of things. And so it's going to be shortly time to move on. In the meantime, we know that a couple of them have already ported to our state and started going after the farms. And this is not unusual either. We expect it, we know it, and although we feel bad because a lot of these farms are ours, a lot of them are our friends, you know what? Life's a bitch. You should have known. Bubble up. I'm not going back and wasting a port to save an HQ 30 farm. It's just not going to happen. All right? I'm not going to go back and save a P3 that did not bubble up unless it's convenient. if I'm not certainly not going to leave a battle to go do something like that, and most of the alliance will not. And we had a couple people that we left behind to kind of keep an eye on things, and they did okay. They were outmatched by some of the guys that went over, and that was also to be expected. But there's nothing you can really do. So we battle it out. We figure out what we're doing. We take a look at the guys. We take a look at who we can hit and where we can go. Now, some of it you're going to see that we're continuing to go here, and that's because we're finding resources, and they're gathering up resources. For me, I'm limited for resources in the fact of I don't get anything under a P4. Anything under a P4, I don't get their resources. And everything they had, with the exception of only a few, were fully reinforced. So, you're talking, well, why can't you beat them? Well, it's pretty simple. I send a march of 198,000 that's very, very, very strong. But when you've got 2 and 3 million in reinforcements, I get my ass kicked. I mean, you guys have seen it. So now we move on to BRO. I got tired. Somebody's already been here. I found out later Borky had already been there, and I think Bio had already been there as well. Looking around, BRO actually bubbled up even better. And that, again, is just one of those things. So we're still trying to keep an eye on the timer, keep an eye on what's going on, and go get what we need to get. But for me, I had to keep looking. So I look over at PEW. Somebody's already been there, knocked out a few. And I think at PEW, I don't think I found anything worth hitting. I mean, there's a lot to hit, but I don't get the points. And sometimes I'll hit them even unknowingly that I'm not going to get points. Only because I know they're going to be, I've seen them highly active in Migo chat. I know they're going to end up over in our state, and I know they're going to end up reinforcing. So I'll go ahead and hit them just because I have nothing else going on at this point in time. But in the back of my mind right now, I'm trying to figure out, okay, I've got an hour to invade. Then the electrical field goes off, and then we can attack, and the timer goes. Well, there was an issue with that. The red zone electrical charge never came on, or at least our state never saw it come on. And so you could port as soon as it was available. So we're going to have to fight for that, and that's going to be towards the end of this particular video, of everybody just burning what you can burn, finding what you can find, measuring out, touching, feeling, kind of getting a sense for what's going on. And in the back of my mind, I already know what's going to happen. I already know that they are strong and organized. And when you're both strong and organized, that's going to be a problem when you have multiple alliances. Instead of putting it all in one, you have multiples. The second part to that is real simple, and this is something you really need to pay attention to. If there's nothing else that you think about this. When you fight a mega alliance, that mega alliance may be no stronger than you, and that mega alliance may even be able to run less rallies, and they still can beat you. And the reasoning behind that is simple. SVS is set on a timer. Okay? So every time I'm in mid, the timer's on cat. Every time ref is in med, the timer's on RFU. And we're splitting it. We're splitting those times. Okay? If I've had 3 minutes and ref had 4 minutes, that's 7 minutes. One of us could have had a total of 7 minutes if we were both in the same alliance. What ALL did was created a mega alliance called 473, and that's what went after mid. So it was able to run 4 to 5 rallies at a time, and Lady Susie sitting out there ghosting. That was not a big deal. We could beat them left and right. The problem is we would get a minute and they would get 3 minutes. We would get, I'd get a minute, ref would get a minute, they'd get 3 minutes. They're always gaining. And you can't win if they're gaining. If your opponent is gaining, you can't win. Now here, I moved on down to XXX and went in there and started moseying around. I found out that Borky had already beat me to it, and he was already beating up some of the juicier accounts that were capable of producing anything that I wanted. And so, but getting back to what I was saying, you've got to take that into consideration. You've got to learn to understand that splitting that timer when your rally capabilities, your strengths, your heroes, everything that goes along with it are as close as where we were, is an automatic loss. And now I go back to take a look at what's going over at 473. I'm kind of, I don't know, I guess the best word, I'm sitting here kind of bored is what's happening at this point. I'm bored because I can't help. I can't do anything. There are very few pieces and parts. I can hit a few people, see what's going on. I went over here to hit Pound Town just to see if I could hit him hard enough to take a look at his troops. And I knew I would lose. I knew it was reinforced. We already knew that. But we went through the process. And then this is another part that you're going to see later on. But I'll go into it more in depth when it comes up. But, the wall breaker. Wall breaker is really a piece of crap. It is so easy to get around wall breaker. And wall breaker is so stupid. It's ridiculous. That's just all there is to it. I don't know of anybody. Oh, there I am. What have I got there? 40, 60, 60. And I have 200,000 dead, and we haven't even started. Oh, dead troops, 689,000. All right. Of that, 200,000 only are revivable at this point. And in case you want to know, my total losses, 2.35 million troops, 235 million. You know what? I got to go back and look now. Yeah, no, 2.35 million troops and a little over 250 million in BP was the final number, something like that. Yeah. So I had to revive a lot, and then I had to enlist, and I'm still enlisted. So here we are, jumping into the alert zone, and I missed my jump. Justice beat me in. I missed my jump. I end up going in on the second level. Okay, well, crap happens. There's not a lot you can do about it. That was actually my fault. I should have moved down just a little bit more for the marker that had been set, but I didn't. My own fault. I've got nobody to blame but myself. So, I got to test out a couple people here. Who have they got? What's got who? How reinforced are they? And as you can see, the recon doesn't work. Everybody's got a recon jammer going. So we take a look and see, and I'm going to attack this guy and see if I can knock him out. And as you're going to very quickly see, no, my 198,000 is just not going to do it. He's just, too reinforced. So we're going to take a different approach. Now, what did surprise me was that this guy had not been wall broken. Now, Lady Susie we're taking a look at, and Lady Susie and I have come in contact before. Lady Susie was in a different alliance at one time, I think, and she was either Reservoir Raid or Reservoir League, and she's got highly competitive stats. I knew I wasn't going to be able to do anything with that. I knew she was going to be reinforced, but a couple of other people had to give it a try, see what was going on, and so they did. In the meantime, I'm trying to search for some more targets. Now, we've got an hour to get situated in the red zone now. And I'm just taking a look at this and taking a look at that. And now we're starting to recognize, hold on a second. Some of you already noticed it, but now everybody's noticing it. These guys are all reinforcing each other, and they're all set up the right way. And it doesn't matter what, at this point in time, at this evolution in this state. Now, here we go. Maybe, no, at this point in this state, and maybe later it'll make a difference. Okay? Now, Lady Susie, as you just saw, had already been ported. Lady Susie got ported. And we'll come back to the other subject in a minute. Lady Susie got ported prior to SVS even starting. So I think there was E-Words sent that up there, knocked them from 39 to 19, and in a second you're going to see Pudsey come in and slap them around, and then we drop the ball again. Human error. We dropped the ball. Somebody should have been ready to pour it in there. They weren't. I was away from the keyboard. I came back and it was too late. And looking at what's going on, Beck moved in and again reinforced. So, but what I was saying earlier is that at this evolution in the game, if you're a P5 with T11s, even a P4 with, well, I can throw 198,000 at you and kill you. But if you've got 1,500,000 or 2 million in reinforcements, guess what? That is not going to work for me. So, in a minute, we're going to start invading, or actually fighting over mid. But I'm taking you through the basics of the prep we went through, how we were surprised, how well they were prepared, and then how we started to get organized for the actual fight for capital. So watch part 2. When you get a chance, don't forget to subscribe. I really appreciate it.